I am asking for the last time. Why is your wife's mother living in my house? What is she, homeless? The words left my mouth with a calmness that even I did not recognize. My son was trembling in front of me, his sweaty hands gripping the edge of the dining table. Jessica ran toward the bathroom and locked the door. A minute later, the screaming started, the sound of things breaking. Brenda was rolling down the stairs with her suitcases, while Ryan, on his knees, was begging for forgiveness, with tears running down his face. But it did not start this way. None of this should have gone this far. It all started 3 months ago, at 2:30 in the morning. The phone rang with that persistence that only bad news brings. Half asleep, I fumbled around the nightstand until I found it. It was Ryan. His voice sounded nervous, breathless, like when he was a kid and had done something wrong. "Mom, I need to ask you a huge favor. It is urgent." I sat up in bed, my heart racing. "What happened? Are you okay, Jessica?" "We are all fine. But it is Brenda, Jessica's mother. She had a problem with her apartment. A terrible water leak. She cannot stay there. The repairs are going to take time and..." He paused for a long moment. "Too long. She needs a place to stay. Just 2 weeks. Mom, I swear to you. Just until they fix everything. 2 weeks." Those words echoed in my head like a promise I knew would not be kept. I knew Brenda. I had seen her at family gatherings, always with that smile that never reached her eyes, always measuring, evaluating, judging. But it was my son asking, my only son, and after so many years alone in this house, working double shifts as a nurse to keep it, to leave him something when I was gone, I could not deny him anything. "All right, Ryan, 2 weeks, thank you." "Mom, I promise she will not be a bother. You will not even notice she is there." I should have laughed at that lie. I should have said no. They arrived the next day, at 11 in the morning. Brenda brought 4 large suitcases. 4. For 2 weeks, Jessica was carrying bags with more clothes, shoes, even a small television. Ryan was dragging a heavy box full of books and knickknacks. "Margaret, how kind of you to take me in," Brenda said, kissing my cheek with cold lips. "I hope I am not a burden. You know how these things are? One never knows how long repairs will take. It could be 2 weeks, it could be 3, or more." She was already changing the terms of the deal. She was already moving in. I showed her the guest room. It was small but clean, with a comfortable bed and a spacious closet. I had put out fresh flowers that morning, new towels, the cotton sheets I saved for special occasions. I wanted her to feel welcome. I wanted to believe that 2 weeks would pass quickly. Brenda walked in, and her face transformed. The smile disappeared. "This is the room? It is quite modest. Do you not have something bigger? With better ventilation? This smells musty." I had opened the windows 2 hours earlier. The room smelled of lavender and fresh air. "It is the only room available. Brenda, my bedroom is down the hall, and this is the guest room." "Well," she sighed theatrically, "I suppose I will have to adapt. Not for long, anyway." Jessica and Ryan disappeared quickly, mumbling excuses about work, about things to do. They left me alone with Brenda and her 4 suitcases. I helped her get settled, carrying clothes, folding, hanging dresses in the closet. She sat on the bed, directing, pointing out where she wanted everything, as if I were her maid. "Not that green dress. Not there. It is going to wrinkle. Hang it on the other side. Blouses get folded, not hung. You do not know how to organize a closet. I am 63 years old. I lived alone for the last 15 years, after my husband left us for a woman 20 years younger. I raised Ryan working shifts that destroyed my back. I paid off this house with loans that I finished settling just 2 years ago. I have organized closets my entire life, but I said nothing. I just arranged her clothes how she wanted. That first night I made dinner, roast chicken with vegetables, rice, a fresh salad. I set the table with care. I even lit candles. I wanted to start off on the right foot. Brenda sat down, took a bite, and frowned. "It is a little dry, isn't it? I make it different, juicier. I use a special technique. Maybe I could teach you someday." That chicken had turned out perfect. I knew it. But I smiled and nodded. "The rice is also a bit plain. Do you not put anything in it? Spices? Herbs? We ate in silence after that. A dense, uncomfortable silence. When we finished, I started clearing the plates. Brenda got up and walked toward the living room, leaving her dirty plate on the table. I am tired from the trip. I am going to bed early. What time do you serve breakfast? I do not serve breakfast at a specific time. Everyone makes their own whenever. Oh, she interrupted me, with that smile again. I understand. Well, I am used to eating breakfast at 8 o'clock sharp. Strong coffee, 2 pieces of toast with butter, fresh squeezed orange juice. None of that carton stuff. Fresh. You have a juicer. Brenda. I work. I leave at 7 in the morning. I'm not going to. You are still working at your age? Oh, Margaret, you should be retired, resting. I retired 5 years ago. And look, here I am, enjoying life in my house, with my things, eating my food. That night, lying in my bed, I heard noises. Brenda was walking through the house, opening doors, checking. When everything finally went silent, I looked at the clock. It was 2 in the morning. 2 weeks. I repeated to myself. Just 2 weeks. The first week was an exercise in patience I did not know I possessed. Every morning I left for work, leaving my house tidy, clean, just how I liked it. Every afternoon, I returned to find small changes that made me doubt my own memory. The sofa in the living room had been moved an inch to the left. The cushions were in a different order. The photos on the mantel had been rearranged by size instead of by date, how I had always had them. I organized a little, Brenda said when I asked, with that light, carefree voice. It looked cluttered. I hope you do not mind. I just wanted to help while I am here. My photos had been in that order for 10 years. The photo of Ryan at his graduation, always in front, where I saw it when I arrived. Now it was in the back, next to a photo of his wedding with Jessica that Brenda had placed in the center, enlarged, as if this were her house and her family was the important one. But I said nothing. 2 weeks, I reminded myself. 1 had already passed. The smell of the house changed. My home always smelled of coffee in the mornings, of the vanilla candles I lit in the evenings, of the hand lotion I used, of me. Now it smelled of that sweet and penetrating perfume that Brenda sprayed everywhere. I found it in the bathroom, in the living room, even in my own bedroom. A cloying floral scent that gave me a headache. It is essential oil, she explained when I mentioned the smell. Very good for the energy of the house. Yours was a little heavy, a little sad. It needed a lift. You are welcome. You are welcome. As if she had done me a favor. As if my house needed fixing. The towels in the master bathroom, those cream-colored towels I had bought last year, disappeared. In their place hung some pink ones with lace that Brenda had brought. Yours were old, she said simply. These are better, softer. They were not old. They were a year old. The soaps I used, oatmeal and hypoallergenic because my skin no longer tolerated strong chemicals, were replaced by ones with artificial fragrances so intense they irritated my hands. When I looked for them under the sink where I kept them, they were gone. I threw them out, Brenda admitted without shame. They smelled medicinal, like a hospital. Nobody wants that in their house. It was my house, my bathroom, my soaps. She started cooking without asking for permission. I would arrive from work exhausted, with swollen feet after 12 hours attending to patients, and find the kitchen a disaster. Dirty pots piled in the sink, sauce splatters on the stove, vegetable scraps on the cutting board. Brenda was sitting in the living room watching television, eating something she had prepared only for herself. Did you eat? She would ask upon seeing me. Not yet. Oh, well, I already ate. I made pasta. There is some left in the pot, I think. It is cold now, but you can heat it up. Leftovers. She offered me leftovers in my own house, using my ingredients, dirtying my kitchen. One night, after cleaning up the whole mess she had left, I sat at the table with some tea. I was so tired that tears threatened to come out. The phone rang. It was Ryan. Mom, how is everything going? Brenda is behaving herself. I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to tell him that his mother-in-law was taking control of every inch of my space, that I felt like a guest in my own home, that every day I arrived with dread to discover what else would have changed. But I heard something in the background. Jessica's voice. What does she say? She is complaining. Everything is fine, son. Everything is fine. I am glad. Mom, I knew I could count on you. You are the best. By the way, the repairs on Brenda's apartment are going slower than expected. She might need to stay another week. There is no problem, right? 3 weeks now. The promise was stretching like old chewing gum. Ryan. Mom, please. It is family. Jessica is very stressed with all this. Her mother has nowhere else to go. You have space. You have always been so generous, so understanding. Just 1 more week, Jessica stressed. How ironic. I was the one living in constant tension. All right, thank you. Mom, I love you. He hung up before I could respond. The second week, Brenda invited her friends. She did not ask. She did not warn me. They simply appeared on a Tuesday afternoon, 4 loud women with bags of food and bottles of wine. I arrived from work and found my living room turned into a social club. Loud music, raucous laughter, the smell of greasy food permeating the curtains. Margaret, so good that you arrived, Brenda said from my sofa, my favorite spot where I sat every night. Let me introduce you to my friends. Ladies, this is Margaret, the owner of the house. She is a nurse. She works a lot. Poor thing. Poor thing. She called me poor thing in front of strangers in my own living room. Oh, how sweet you are to let Brenda stay here, said one of them. A woman with hair dyed an impossible shade of orange. Not just anyone has that heart. So generous. It was not generosity. It was my son manipulating me. It was not being able to say no. They stayed until 11 at night. 11. On a work night. I locked myself in my bedroom with a headache, listening to their cackling through the walls. When they finally left, I came out to find dirty glasses everywhere, plates with food scraps, wine stains on my beige rug. Brenda was already in her room, with the door closed. I cleaned alone, on my knees on the rug, scrubbing wine stains until 2 in the morning. The next day I had a shift at 7. I slept 3 hours. The comments started subtle, almost imperceptible, but they grew like mold on a damp wall. Margaret, do you not think this house is too big for a single person? You should consider selling it, moving to something smaller, more manageable. At your age, maintaining this must be exhausting. At my age, 63 years old, and she spoke to me as if I were an invalid. I paid for this house. It is mine. I do not plan on selling it. Oh, do not get sensitive. I am just saying that at a certain age, it is better to simplify. Fewer responsibilities, less work. You could go to one of those apartments for seniors. They have activities, nurses, company. I was the nurse. I did not need to be taken care of. Another day, while I was making breakfast before leaving, are you still using that Scrubs uniform? It looks a little worn, doesn't it? You should buy yourself a new one. Image is important, even in your profession. My uniform was 6 months old. It was impeccable. And then, the worst one, you know? Jessica told me that Ryan always wanted this house to be more modern. She says that when he was a boy, he dreamed of remodeling it. What a shame that you never had the money to do it. Ryan never said that. This house was perfect for him. Here he grew up. Here we celebrated every birthday, every achievement. Here we cried when his father left. These walls held our history. But Brenda kept going. Of course, with your nurse's salary, I imagine it barely covered the basics. Poor Ryan. But now that he has a good job, maybe he can help you improve some things. If you ask him sweetly, surely he will agree. Asking my son for help to improve the house that I gave him. The house that I sacrificed years of my life to keep. The third week arrived with a new invasion. Brenda began to reorganize the kitchen. I walked in on a Saturday morning, my only day off, looking to make coffee as I had done for 15 years, and I found nothing where it should be. The mugs that were always in the upper left cabinet were now in the lower right. The ground coffee I kept next to the coffee maker had disappeared. The plates, the pots, the silverware, everything relocated according to someone else's logic. What did you do? I asked, my voice louder than I intended. Brenda came out of her room in a purple silk robe, yawning. Oh, yes, I reorganized everything. The layout was inefficient. Now it makes more sense. Heavy things down low, light things up high. Basic logic. Brenda. I knew where everything was. This is my kitchen. I have organized it like this for years, precisely why it needed changes. You were stuck in old habits. Sometimes we need someone from the outside to show us better ways to do things. You should thank me. Thank her for undoing the order of my own home. I spent 2 hours looking for every single thing, memorizing the new locations, feeling like my sanctuary was becoming foreign territory. When I finally managed to make my coffee, I no longer felt like drinking it. That same day, the doorbell rang. It was a delivery driver with 3 large packages. For Brenda, she had sent them to my address without asking. Boxes of clothes, shoes, more decorations for her room. "I hope you do not mind," she said while opening the boxes in the middle of my living room. "It is just that since I am going to be here a while longer, I needed some things. My apartment is still under repairs. Now they say there are structural problems. It could take 2 months, even 3. 2 months. The promise of 2 weeks was now 2 months. Brenda, this cannot go on like this. You need to look for another place. Ryan has to—" "Another place," she interrupted me, stopping her unpacking. Her face hardened. "Are you kicking me out? How sad. Margaret, here I was, thinking we were family. Do you know how much this will hurt Jessica? Your son. They will believe it is me. But we both know it is you who does not want to share her space. Typical of people who have lived alone too long. They become selfish, mean. I am not mean. This is my house and your house, always your house. And the family? Does that not matter? Jessica is like a daughter to Ryan, and I am her mother. That makes me part of your family too, whether you like it or not." I was left speechless. The manipulation was so perfect, so polished, that it almost made me doubt myself. Almost. I called Ryan that night. I needed him to come, for us to talk, to put an end to this situation that had gotten completely out of control. "Mom, I am busy. I have an important presentation on Monday. Can it wait?" "No, Ryan, it cannot wait. Your mother-in-law is—" "What did she do now?" Jessica's voice sounded in the background, sharp, defensive. "Tell her my mother is going through a difficult time. Have some empathy. Jessica says that." I heard what she said. "Ryan, I need you to come. We talk in person. Tomorrow." There was a long silence. Too long. "Okay, I will stop by tomorrow after work." But he did not come alone. He arrived with Jessica, both with serious faces, as if I were the problem. We sat in the living room, my living room that no longer felt mine, and before I could speak, Jessica attacked. "Margaret, we need to talk about your attitude toward my mother." My attitude, after 3 weeks enduring invasions, changes, disrespect. "Jessica, your mother said she would stay 2 weeks. It has been 3, and now she talks about 2 months. This was not the agreement." "Agreements change when there are real emergencies," Jessica responded, crossing her arms. "My mother is not to blame that the repairs got complicated. What did you want? For her to sleep on the street? I want you guys to look for alternatives. A hotel, another apartment, with you two. We do not have space." Ryan cut in fast. Too fast. As if he had rehearsed the answer. "You live in a 3-bedroom apartment. The 3rd one is my office. I work from home 2 days a week. You know that. Then a hotel. I can help with a hotel." Jessica let out a bitter laugh. "Do you know how much a hotel costs for 2 months? Do you have any idea? Between $2,000 and $3,000 a month. Are you going to pay that, Margaret?" No, I did not have $3,000 extra dollars. My pension barely covered expenses, and I worked extra shifts to have some savings. Then let her stay with you. In the living room, on a sleeper sofa. "Mom." Ryan leaned forward, taking my hands. His hands, the same ones I held when he learned to walk, now held me as if I were the irrational child. "I know this is hard. I understand. But we are family. Family supports each other. You always taught me that. Remember when I was little and we had to live with Aunt Danielle for 6 months because Dad left? She took us in. She was generous. The perfect low blow, using my own past against me. That was different. You were my son. It was just the 2 of us, yes. And what is Brenda? A stranger? She is my wife's mother. She is family. Besides, Mom, you have space. This house is big. You live alone. What does it cost you to share a little? What did it cost me? It cost me my peace, my routine, my sense of security in my own home. It cost me arriving from work and not recognizing my own kitchen. It cost me listening to passive-aggressive comments daily about my age, my house, my life. It cost me everything. It is not just the space, it is that she changes things. She reorganizes. She invites people over without telling me. She acts as if this were her house. Because she wants to feel comfortable, Jessica explained with that exaggerated patience used with stubborn children. She is in a strange place, away from her things. It is natural that she tries to adapt. Can you not be more flexible, more understanding? Flexible, understanding. The words they use to ask you to tolerate the unacceptable. Look, Mom, Ryan squeezed my hands. Just one more month. 6 weeks maximum. The repairs are almost finished. Brenda will go, and everything will return to normal. I promise you. Yes, you can make this sacrifice for us. For us. Not for me. For them. I looked at my son, that 35-year-old man who was still my boy in my heart, and I saw in his eyes something that broke me inside. Pleading, yes, but also something else. Discomfort, as if he were fulfilling a duty, following a script that Jessica had written. 6 weeks, I repeated, my voice barely a whisper. 6 weeks, maximum. Another promise. Another lie that we both knew would not be kept. They left half an hour later, Jessica saying goodbye with a cold peck on my cheek, Ryan hugging me quickly, like someone completing an awkward formality. I watched them leave from the living room window and felt something I had not felt in years. True loneliness. Not the solitude of living alone, which I had learned to enjoy, but the loneliness of being abandoned. Brenda came out of her room when she heard the door close. Did they leave already? What a shame. I wanted to say hello. She smiled. That smile that I now recognized as victory. What did you talk about? Nothing important. Oh, well, I am glad they remained so united. The mother-son relationship is sacred, isn't it? She poured herself water from my pitcher, using my favorite glass, that cut glass one that had been my mother's. By the way, some friends are coming over again tomorrow. I thought about making a dinner, nothing formal. Do you mind? Yes, I minded, but it no longer mattered what I said. The dinners with her friends became weekly. Every Wednesday, my house filled with foreign voices, laughter that resonated until late hours, the smell of food that I had not authorized being cooked with ingredients I had bought. Brenda used my kitchen as if it were a private restaurant, leaving disasters that I cleaned up in silence, too tired to fight, too defeated to protest. One night I arrived early, at 7, because my evening shift had been canceled. I heard them before opening the door. Laughter. Music. I walked in, and the spectacle left me frozen. They had moved the living room furniture. My coffee table, the one I bought at an antique market 20 years ago, was shoved against the wall, the sofa turned at a strange angle. They had put a folding table in the center with plates, wine glasses, bottles of wine. Margaret, you are home early, said Brenda, getting up from my recliner, the one where I sat every night to read. I thought you worked late today. They canceled my shift. What a pity. Well, since you are here, let me introduce you. This is Karen, Susan, and you already know Linda. Karen. The name hit me. My sister was named Karen. She had died 5 years ago of cancer. These names, these unknown faces occupying her name, occupying my space. Nice to meet you, I murmured. Oh, join us, offered Susan, a woman of about 50 with too much makeup. We were talking about how generous you are. Not just anyone opens their house like this. I did not open my house. It was invaded. Thank you. But I am tired. I am going to my room. So antisocial, commented Brenda as I walked away. Always locked up. It is not healthy at her age. She needs more of a social life. The laughter followed. Laughter about me. I was sure of it. In my bedroom, the only one that remained intact, I sat on the bed and cried. I cried for the first time in years, silent tears that ran down my cheeks while I listened to strangers enjoying themselves in my living room, using my things, breathing my air. This house had been my sanctuary, the place where I rebuilt my life after my husband's abandonment, where I raised my son alone, where I found peace in solitude. And now it was a stage for someone else's show. The phone vibrated. A message from Ryan. "Mom, Jessica says Brenda is very happy there with you. Thanks for being so patient. You are the best." Happy. Of course she was happy. She had conquered territory without firing a single shot. I did not respond. The fourth week, Brenda began receiving mail at my address. Bills, magazines. She even changed her official address at the bank. I discovered it when a certified package arrived that required a signature. The mail carrier handed it to me, and I saw the name, Brenda Solis, my address. As if she lived here permanently. "You changed your address to this house?" I asked her that afternoon, holding the envelope. "Oh, yes. It is temporary, of course. While they fix my apartment, it is easier this way. I do not want to lose important mail." "Brenda, this implies that you plan to stay much longer." No. It is just for precaution. One never knows how long these things will last. Better to be prepared. Prepared to stay. To make my house hers. That night I searched on the internet. Tenants' rights. How much time until residency is established. How to legally remove someone from your house. The answers terrified me. In some cases, after 30 days, a person could claim certain rights. We had already passed that time. I called Ryan. Urgent. This time I demanded he come alone. He arrived the next day, late in the evening. He looked tired, dark circles under his eyes, tie loose. He sat at the kitchen table while I made coffee. "Mom, this cannot go on. Jessica is very upset. She says you are creating unnecessary drama." "Unnecessary drama," I repeated, my voice shaking. "Your mother-in-law has been here a month. She changed her official address to my house. She reorganizes everything. She invites people constantly. She acts like the owner, and I am the dramatic one. She is just trying to feel comfortable. And me? Do I not have the right to feel comfortable in my own house?" Ryan sighed, rubbing his face with both hands. "Mom, I understand it is difficult, but think about Jessica. Her mother is going through a crisis. We cannot abandon her. I am not asking you to abandon her. I am asking you to find another solution, that she stays with you guys, that you look for a temporary apartment." "What? I already told you we do not have space." "Then make space." "Ryan, I am your mother. I raised you alone. I worked double shifts to give you everything. I paid for this house so you would have a home. And now you cannot make this small sacrifice for me." I saw something cross his face. Guilt, perhaps, or annoyance at having to choose. "It is not that simple." "Yes, it is. It is your wife against your mother. And you are choosing." "I am not choosing. I am trying to keep the peace. Jessica is my wife. I live with her. If Brenda stays with us, my life becomes a living hell. Constant fights, tension. You live alone. You have space. You can hold on a little longer. Hold on. That word again. And what about my hell, Ryan? That does not matter. Mom, do not be dramatic." Dramatic. Jessica had taught him well. "Your mother-in-law is abusing my hospitality. She is taking control of my house. And you ask me to hold on because it is more convenient for you. It is not for convenience. It is for family. For unity. What unity? You come here once a month if I am lucky. You call me when you need something. And now you talk to me about unity." The blow hit the mark. Ryan went pale. "That is not fair." "Fair? You want to talk about fair? Raising you alone was not fair. Watching your father leave with another woman was not fair. Paying for this house, working until my back hurt, was not fair. But I did it. For you. And now that I ask you for help, you tell me to be understanding. Mom, 6 weeks. You said 4 have already passed. When does she leave? Give me an exact date." Ryan looked down, toward his untouched coffee cup. The silence spread like an oil stain. "There is no date yet. The repairs got more complicated. They found electrical problems. It could be another month. Another month. 2 months in total." The lie was growing. "No. Ryan. No. Mom, please, no. I want her to leave. Find another solution. A hotel, an apartment, with you. I do not care. But she cannot stay here any longer. And if she cannot leave, what will you do? You will kick her out on the street, the perfect trap, turning me into the villain for setting boundaries in my own house. Ryan, if you do not get her out, I will. He stood up so fast the chair screeched against the floor. I cannot believe how selfish you are being. This is Jessica, my wife, her mother. He grabbed his keys and walked toward the door. Ryan. He stopped without turning around. When you were a boy and had nightmares, you came running to my bed. I hugged you and told you I would always protect you, that I would always be on your side. Remember? Mom, do not do this. Who protects me now? He left without answering. The door closed with a final sound that echoed in the empty house. I stayed sitting in the kitchen, in the dark, until I heard Brenda get up, get ready for her day, as if nothing happened, as if this were her house and I was the intruder. Day 38. The following days Ryan did not call, not a message, not a word. The silence was his punishment, his way of telling me I had crossed a line. Jessica, however, did call. At 10 in the morning on a Saturday, when I was trying to enjoy my only day off cleaning the perpetual mess Brenda left. Margaret, we need to talk about what you said to Ryan. Good morning, Jessica. It was not right. You hurt him. He came home devastated, saying his own mother made him feel guilty for taking care of his family. I am his family. His family now is me, his wife, and you need to accept that. Brenda is my mother, which makes her part of the package. If you cannot be generous with her, then you are rejecting me too. The twisted logic was impressive. Rejecting abuse meant rejecting the marriage. Jessica, your mother has been here 5 weeks. 5. The promise was 2. Circumstances changed. Life is not perfect. Margaret, you have to learn to flow, to be more flexible. Not everything can be your way. I do not ask for everything to be my way. I ask for basic respect in my own house. Respect. She let out a dry laugh. My mother respects you. She cooks, she cleans, she organizes. She does more than she should, considering she is a guest going through a difficult time. She does not clean. I clean. She makes a mess and disappears. Oh, Margaret, always exaggerating. Ryan was right. You have become bitter living alone so long. You see problems where there are none. Bitter. Now I was bitter for defending myself. Jessica, I want a date. When is your mother leaving? When her apartment is ready. I do not have a crystal ball. Then look for another place. Temporary. We are not going to spend thousands of dollars on a hotel when you have plenty of space. It is ridiculous. Selfish. Selfish is abusing my hospitality. You know what? Her voice rose in pitch. I am tired of this conversation. Ryan is tired. We are all tired of your attitude. My mother stays until her apartment is ready, and that is it. If you do not like it, that is your problem. Learn to coexist or keep being bitter alone. She hung up. I stood looking at the phone, hands shaking. Learn to coexist. As if I were the difficult one. As if I had invaded someone's house. That afternoon, while Brenda was in her room, I went into the bathroom we shared. I needed to shower. Wash this day off me. I opened the cabinet where I kept my things and found nothing. My shampoo, my conditioner, my body lotion. Everything had disappeared. In their place, Brenda's products occupied every shelf, every space, like victorious invaders planting flags. I looked in the cabinet below. Nothing. Under the sink, nothing. I left the bathroom and knocked on her door. Yes? She answered with that sweet, fake voice. Brenda, where are my bathroom things? She opened the door, dressed in a silk nightgown. Oh, yes. I moved them. They were taking up a lot of space and I needed to organize my products. I put them in a box under your bed. I thought you would not mind. Under my bed. My things. In a box. Under my bed. The bathroom is shared. Brenda, we both have the right to use the cabinets. Of course, but I have more products. Skincare regimen, hair treatments. I need space. You only use the basics. The basics. My medicated shampoo because I have a sensitive scalp. My special cream because my skin gets dry with age. Basic. I want my things back in the bathroom. Oh, Margaret, Why do you have to complicate everything? It is fine like that. They are just products. It is not a big deal. She closed the door in my face. I stood there, in the hallway of my own house, feeling every inch of my dignity evaporate. I went into my room. I looked under the bed, and there it was, an old cardboard box with my things thrown in carelessly. The shampoo bottle had spilled, soaking the towels I had stored there. The medicinal smell mixed with the dust from the floor. That night I did not sleep. I stayed awake, looking at the ceiling, listening to Brenda snore in the room next door, that snore that went through the walls every night. I thought about my life, 63 years, 40 of them working, 15 alone. This house was everything I had. This small space I had built with sacrifice, with double shifts, with years of back pain and swollen feet, and someone was taking it from me piece by piece, with smiles and kind words that hid sharp claws. At 3 in the morning I heard noise. Brenda had gotten up. Her footsteps in the hallway, my bedroom door. It opened slowly, a sliver of light entering. I stayed motionless, pretending to sleep, my heart hammering. I saw her silhouette checking, looking, making sure I wasn't awake. Then she closed the door and continued to the study. I waited 5 minutes. 10. I got up in silence, barefoot, and walked toward the study. The door was ajar. Brenda was in front of my desk, going through papers. My papers, personal documents, the deed to the house, my bank statements, everything illuminated by the small desk lamp. "What are you doing?" My voice cut the silence like a knife. Brenda jumped, spinning around with a hand on her chest. "My God, you scared me. I could not sleep. I was looking for something to read. Those are private documents. Personal. Sorry, I did not know. I thought they were magazines or something like that." She smiled. That smile. "I am going to sleep now." She passed by me, her sweet perfume leaving a trail. I entered the study. The papers were messy. The deed to the house was on top, as if she had been studying it. My latest bank statement open. My retirement documents scattered. Something cold ran down my spine. This was not a coincidence. She was not looking for something to read at 3 in the morning. She was investigating, evaluating, planning something. I gathered them and locked them in the desk drawer. I should have done it from the beginning. I should have set boundaries from day one. The next day, Sunday, Brenda acted as if nothing had happened. She made breakfast, scrambled eggs with bacon, using all my pans, dirtying the whole kitchen. She served me a plate with a smile. "Eat. Margaret, you need energy. You look tired lately. Haggard. Are you sleeping well?" I had not slept well in 5 weeks. "Why were you going through my documents last night?" "Oh, I already told you. It was a mistake. I was half asleep." "Do not be paranoid." "I am not paranoid. I saw you clearly looking at the deed to my house. And it is just a house. Margaret." "A piece of paper. Why so much drama?" She took a sip of coffee. "Although, now that you mention it, this house is quite big for a single person, especially at your age. Have you thought about what I told you? About selling it, moving to something smaller. You could make good money, live more comfortably." There it was, the real interest, the house. It was always the house. "I am not going to sell my house. Nobody says you should sell. I am just saying consider options. For example, you could do a shared deed. Put part of it in Ryan's name. Secure his future. He is your son. You do not want him to have security? My son will have this house when I die. It is in my will." Ah, wills. Those can be fought in court. They take years. They cost fortunes in lawyers. Better to do something while alive. "Something legal, of course." She leaned forward. "Jessica and I were talking. She thinks it would be fair for Ryan to have a part now. After all, this is his childhood home. He has a right." The plan revealed itself. All this time, the invasion, establishing residency, checking documents, it wasn't just about having a place to stay. It was for the house, for my house. "Brenda, listen to me well. This house is mine, only mine. I paid for it. It is in my name, and it will stay that way until the day I die. Not you, not Jessica, not anyone is going to manipulate me to change that." Her face hardened. The mask fell for a second, revealing something dark, calculating. How selfish you are. Your own son, your blood, and you deny him security. What kind of mother does that? The kind of mother who recognizes a fraud when she sees it. She stood up, throwing the napkin on the table. You know what, Margaret? I am tired of your hostility, of your accusations. I have been nothing but kind. I have tried to help, and you repay me with paranoia and pettiness. Then leave. Problem solved. I am not going anywhere, not until my apartment is ready. And if that bothers you, call your son. Tell him his petty mother is kicking his poor mother-in-law out onto the street. She took out her phone. Dialed. Ryan, son, I need you to come. Your mother is accusing me of horrible things. She is saying, I want to steal her house. I was just trying to help, give sensible financial advice, and she attacks me. Brenda's voice trembled with perfectly calibrated fake tears. I do not know what to do. I am scared. She is acting very strange, very aggressive. Me, aggressive. The woman who had endured 5 weeks of silent abuse was now the aggressor. She hung up and looked at me with that victorious smile. He is coming. Now we will see who is right. They arrived in 40 minutes. Ryan and Jessica, both with faces of contained fury. They entered like a hurricane. They did not even greet me. Jessica ran to her mother, hugging her as if she had rescued her from a kidnapping. Mom, are you okay? What did she do to you? Nothing, my love. I am fine. Just scared. Ryan planted himself in front of me, arms crossed. Mom, what the hell is going on? Your mother-in-law was going through my personal documents in the middle of the night. The deed to my house, my bank accounts, and today she suggested I put the house in your name, that I make a shared deed. And? Jessica intervened, her voice shrill. What is wrong with her thinking about your son's future? It is logical. It is common sense. It is my house. I decide what to do with it. Nobody is trying to take anything from you, said Ryan, but his tone was defensive, as if they had rehearsed it. Brenda was just giving suggestions, advice. Unsolicited advice about my property. Property that will be Ryan's someday anyway, added Jessica. What is the problem with speeding up the process? Saving on taxes. Avoiding future legal problems. My mother knows about these things. She worked in real estate. First news I had of that. Brenda never mentioned working in real estate. If she worked in real estate, then she knows perfectly well that going through private documents without permission is invasive and suspicious. I was not stealing anything, shouted Brenda, tears now flowing freely. Award-worthy acting. I just wanted to help. I thought maybe you needed guidance. You are older. Margaret, these things become confusing at a certain age. Numbers, finances. I wanted to make sure everything was in order. For your sake, for Ryan's sake, for my sake. The perfect infantilization. I am 63 years old, Brenda. Not 90. My mind works perfectly. I have managed my finances without a problem for 40 years. Mom, enough. Ryan raised his hand as if directing traffic. This is ridiculous. Brenda was trying to help. Maybe she did it the wrong way, but there was no bad intention. Why do you always assume the worst? Because I found your mother-in-law at 3 a.m, reviewing the deed to my house after spending 5 weeks invading every aspect of my life. What part of that seems innocent to you? The part where it is family, responded Jessica, venomous. But of course, for you, family means nothing. Only your house, your space, your comfort matters. God forbid you make a sacrifice for someone else. The cynicism left me breathless. Me, who had sacrificed everything for my son. Jessica, I have put up with your mother for 5 weeks. 5 weeks of unsolicited reorganization, of passive-aggressive comments, of constant invasion. I took her in when they said 2 weeks. It has turned into more than a month. And I am the selfish one. Yes, she said simply. You are. Because you have space and resources and you refuse to share. While my mother suffers, I let out a bitter laugh. Your mother has taken total control of my house. She reorganized my kitchen, my bathroom. She invites people without permission. She changed her official address here. Does that seem like suffering to you? She is trying to feel comfortable. Jessica almost spat the words. What did you want? For her to live like a prisoner? To ask permission to breathe? I wanted basic respect. Normal boundaries. What any person would expect in their own home. Ryan rubbed his face, exhausted. Mom, listen. I know this has been difficult. I understand. But Brenda has nowhere else. Her apartment is still under repairs. They found mold, serious humidity problems. It is going to take another 2 months minimum. 2 more months. 7 weeks was turning into 3.5 months. No, Ryan, no. No what? You are going to kick her out? To the street. Look. For another place. I pronounced each word slowly, clearly. There is no other place. Jessica crossed her arms. Hotels are incredibly expensive. We cannot pay $1,200 a month for 2 months. That is almost $3,000. Do you have it? Because if you have it, pay it. If not, stop complaining. The perfect economic trap. They knew I did not have that money. She can stay with you. You two and Brenda. In your apartment. I already told you we do not have space, responded Ryan, mechanically. Make space. Convert the office. Put a sleeper sofa in the living room. Do something. Anything. But she cannot stay here any longer. Why are you so cruel? Asked Jessica, her voice breaking theatrically. My mother has not done anything to you. Nothing. And you treat her like trash. Jessica, your mother suggested I put my house in Ryan's name. My house. The one I paid for alone. You do not see the manipulation in that. I see an old and paranoid woman who cannot accept help when it is offered. Old. Paranoid. The words stuck like needles. Ryan, I turned to my son, looking for something, any trace of the boy I raised. You really do not see what is happening here. He looked at me, and for a second I saw doubt in his eyes, a flicker of recognition. But Jessica took his hand, squeezing it, and the doubt disappeared. I see my mother being unreasonable. I see my mother-in-law needing help, and my mother denying it to her. That is what I see. Something broke inside me. It was not dramatic. There was no sound, just a silent fracture, like ice cracking under pressure. I understand, I said, my voice flat, emotionless. I understood. Understood what? Asked Ryan. What did you choose? That I am no longer a priority, that I can be sacrificed for your comfort. Do not say that. You are my mother. I love you. But you love me less than your marital peace. It is okay. It is your decision. Mom, Brenda can stay, I said, surprising myself. 2 more months, until her apartment is ready. But with conditions. Jessica smiled. Victorious. Conditions. No more reorganizing. She does not touch my things. No more guests without consulting. No more comments about my house, my age, my life. And absolutely zero access to my personal documents. Nothing. Is that clear? Brenda nodded, suddenly submissive. Of course, Margaret. Whatever you say. I just want peace. Liar. But it no longer mattered. Thank you. Mom. Ryan tried to hug me. I pulled away. Do not thank me. This is not generosity. It is surrender. They left half an hour later, Jessica whispering things to her mother, Ryan looking at me as if I were the one who had disappointed. When the door closed, Brenda turned to me. I knew you would come to your senses. I have one more condition, I added, ignoring her comment. I want to see proof of the repairs on your apartment, contractor contact, photos of the work, time estimate, everything. Her face tensed. You do not trust me. No, I do not trust you. How sad. She walked toward her room. What a sad life you must have to distrust people like that. That night I called my brother Robert. We did not talk much. He lived in another state, but we were close when it mattered. I told him everything. Every detail. Every invasion. Every manipulation. Margaret, he said, after a long silence, this isn't right. None of this is right. I know. Do you want me to come? I do not know what I want. I just needed to tell someone. I needed someone to tell me I am not crazy. You are not crazy. You are being abused in your own home. And your son is allowing it. Hearing someone else say it out loud made me cry. I cried in silence, the phone against my ear, while Robert waited patiently on the other side. I'm coming there, he decided. This weekend. Do not tell me no. I am coming. Robert, you are my sister, and nobody treats my sister like that. Not even your own family. We hung up. For the first time in weeks, I felt something resembling hope. Or maybe it was just the relief of not being completely alone. The following days were of tense silence. Brenda met the conditions superficially, but the damage was already done. My house was no longer mine. Every corner bore her imprint. Every space breathed her presence. I moved like a ghost in my own home, avoiding confrontations, counting the hours until the weekend when Robert would arrive. On Wednesday, I found something that changed everything. I was looking for my favorite sweater, that gray one I used to read at night. It was not in my closet. I checked the hamper, the washer, nothing. Then I remembered that Brenda had offered to do a load of laundry the week before. I went to her room. I knocked, waited. There was no answer. She was at the supermarket. I had seen her leave. I opened the door just to look for my sweater. That was all. Just that. But what I found chilled my blood. On her dresser, perfectly ordered, were documents, photocopies of documents, my documents, the deed to my house, my ID, my bank statement, my birth certificate. Everything copied, organized in manila folders, and next to them, printed papers, legal forms, transfer of property, power of attorney, petition for conservatorship due to mental incompetency. Mental incompetency. My hands shook so much I could barely hold the papers. I read every one. They were drafts, templates downloaded from the internet, but they all had spaces to fill. My name was already written on some, date of birth, address, and in the section for proposed guardian was Ryan's name. There was more. Handwritten notes in a notebook, signs of dementia, frequent forgetfulness, paranoia, difficulty managing finances, erratic behavior, lies, all lies documented as if they were facts. Potential witnesses: Jessica, Karen, friend, Dr. Ramirez, fine doctor, period. They were building a case to declare me mentally incompetent, take control of my house, my life from me. And my own son was involved. He had to be. His name was on the forms. I photographed everything with trembling hands. Every paper, every note, every page of that accursed notebook. I saved the photos on my phone. I emailed them to myself. I backed them up to the cloud. Evidence. I needed evidence. I put everything back exactly how it was and left the room. I sat on my bed, heart beating so hard I thought it would explode. It wasn't paranoia. I wasn't exaggerating. There was a real plan, documented, to steal my house using guardianship laws. And the most terrifying thing was how elaborate it was, how thought out, how meticulous. I called Robert immediately. You need to come today. Now. I found something. It is worse than we thought. What did you find? I told him. Everything. The documents, the forms, the notes about my supposed dementia. My God. Margaret, this is fraud. This is... You need to call the police. I cannot. Not yet. It is my son, Robert. His name is on the papers. If I call the police, I destroy any relationship that remains. Margaret, listen to me. If you do not do something, you are going to lose your house. They are going to declare you incompetent. It is a real plan. I know. That is why I need you to come. I need a witness. I need family on my side when I confront them. I am leaving in an hour. I arrive tonight. Do not do anything until I am there. Do you hear me? Nothing. Okay. Margaret. Yes. Lock your room tonight. And keep those photos in a safe place. If they discover I do not know what they are capable of. We hung up. I looked around my room, this last space that remained mine, and felt true fear for the first time. Not abstract fear, but visceral, physical fear. I was living with people who planned to steal everything from me, using the law, using my age against me. Brenda returned an hour later. I heard her enter, put away the groceries, walk toward her room. There was silence. Long, too long. Then her quick steps back, straight to my door. She knocked. 3 dry raps. Margaret, did you go into my room? My heart stopped. What? My door. It was closed when I left. Now it is open. Lie. She had not locked her door. She had left it closed normally. But now she was testing me. I did not go into your room. Brenda, why would I enter? I do not know. You tell me. You seem very interested in my things lately. I did not touch anything of yours. Silence. Then, all right, I must have left it poorly closed then. She walked away, but I felt her distrust slip under the door like toxic gas. That night, I barely ate dinner. Brenda had cooked, something with spices that made the whole house smell like her food, like her territory. I made myself a simple sandwich and ate in my room with the door locked. For the first time in my life, I locked the door of my own bedroom, inside my own house. At 10 at night, Robert arrived. I heard his truck in the driveway, his determined steps toward the door. I opened before he knocked. Sis, he hugged me tight, that hug that only blood family can give. The hug that says, I am here, you are safe. He was 68, 5 years older than me, but he was still that big brother who protected me on the school playground. Completely gray hair, straight back, firm gaze. Robert had been military, then worked in corporate security. He knew how to handle conflicts. He knew how to read people. Where is she? He asked in a low voice. In her room. Waiting. Brenda had heard the truck too. She came out of her room with an elegant robe, fresh makeup applied at 10 at night, calculated. Oh, visitors, she said with that smile. Margaret, did you not tell me you were expecting someone? Brenda, this is my brother, Robert. Robert, this is Brenda. Robert did not smile. He did not extend his hand. He just nodded, evaluating her with that professional look that disarms. Nice to meet you. Margaret has told me about you. Oh, yes. Brenda's smile wavered. I hope good things. She told me you have been here over a month, that the temporary stay has extended quite a bit. Well, circumstances. You know how these things are. Unexpected repairs. What company is doing the repairs? Asked Robert casually, taking out his phone. I know several good ones in the area. I could make some calls, speed up the process. I have contacts. I saw the panic cross her face. Just a second, but it was there. It is not necessary. Everything is already underway. It is no trouble. Give me the name of the company. I can have that resolved in 2 weeks instead of 2 months. It is a small company, family-owned. I do not think you know them. Try me. Robert smiled, but it was a shark smile. The truth is, I do not remember the name right now. I would have to look in my papers. Perfect. Look for them. I will wait. Brenda looked at both of us, calculating, deciding. It is late. I will look for them tomorrow. Good night. She practically ran to her room. Robert waited until he heard her door close. There are no repairs, right? I do not know, but I have something worse to show you. I took him to my room. I showed him the photos on my phone. I saw his face harden with every image. When we got to the notes about my supposed dementia, he closed his eyes. This is criminal. Margaret, fraud, conspiracy. They could go to jail. Ryan is involved. It is his name on the forms. Then Ryan has to face the consequences. He is my son, and he is trying to steal your house, declaring you crazy. Do you understand how serious this is? The tears started to fall. I could not stop them. He is my only son, Robert. I raised him alone. I gave him everything. How did we get here? They got here because he chose the wrong woman, and that woman brought her mother, who is a professional con artist. This, he pointed at the phone, this does not occur to just anyone. This requires experience, knowledge. I bet whatever you want that Brenda has done this before. He was right. It was all too elaborate, too perfect. What do I do? First, tomorrow we go to a lawyer. You need to protect your house legally. Second, we confront Brenda with the evidence. And third, we call Ryan and give him one last chance to choose the right side. And if he chooses Jessica, then you will know who your son really is, and you will have saved yourself from losing everything. I slept little that night, knowing that Robert was in the guest room that used to be my reading refuge before it became Brenda's kingdom. My brother had insisted on staying on the living room sofa, strategically located between my room and hers. Just in case, he said simply, and I understood that we were no longer talking about discomforts, but real security. At 7 in the morning, Robert was already awake, making coffee. I found him in the kitchen, rearranging some things to their original places with deliberate movements, sending a silent message. "Good morning, sis. How did you sleep?" "As best I could." Brenda appeared at 8, already made up, already prepared for the role of kind victim. But seeing Robert in the kitchen, pouring coffee into my mug, using my space with the authority of someone who belongs there, something in her posture changed. "Good morning," she said cautiously. "Good morning, Brenda." "Coffee?" Robert lifted the pot. "No, thanks. I prepare mine a special way." "Oh, sure, with that expensive coffee maker you brought, and that takes up half the counter." It was not a question. It was an observation. Brenda forced a smile and began to prepare her coffee in uncomfortable silence. Robert sat at the table with me, never taking his eyes off her. "Brenda, about that repair company, did you remember the name yet?" "I have not had time to look yet." "How strange. I thought something as important as the repairs on your home would be on the tip of your tongue. It is the only thing keeping you here, after all." She stopped stirring her coffee. "What are you insinuating?" "I am not insinuating anything. I just observed that after more than a month, you cannot remember the name of the company that is supposedly repairing your apartment. Nor do you have documentation, nor photos of the progress, nothing. I do not have to give you explanations. No, not to me. But to my sister, yes. This is her house. She deserves transparency." Brenda turned to me, ignoring Robert. "Margaret, are you going to let your brother interrogate me like this? In your house? I thought we had an agreement." "We had an agreement," I said, my voice firmer than I expected. "But you have not respected it." "What have I not respected?" "I have been nothing but respectful." Robert stood up, walked toward her with measured steps. He was taller, more imposing, and used every inch of that advantage. "Brenda, we are going to have an honest, adult conversation. No games. I do not know what you are talking about." "Then let me refresh your memory." He took out his phone, opened the photos I had sent him. "Explain this to me." The color drained from her face. She looked at the images of her own documents, her own notes, her own plans exposed on the bright screen of the phone. That is private. You had no right. You had no right to photocopy Margaret's private documents, to plan to declare her mentally incompetent, to conspire to steal her house. I am not stealing anything. I was only investigating options. Ryan deserves security. He deserves part of this house. Ryan will have this house when his mother dies, as is established legally. What you were planning is fraud. Brenda, fraud, and possibly something worse. She backed up until her back touched the counter. "You do not understand. Margaret cannot handle this alone. Look at this house. It needs repairs, maintenance. She works all day. She is tired, confused." "I am not confused," I interrupted, standing up. "I know exactly what you have been doing. Every reorganization, every comment about my age, every suggestion about my mental capacity, everything was to build a narrative. So that when you presented those papers, there would be witnesses who would say, 'Yes, we saw her. She is losing her faculties.' Are you paranoid?" "No." My voice came out higher than I intended. "I am not paranoid. I am being attacked. In my own house, by someone I took in out of compassion." Brenda changed tactics. The tears appeared instantly. "I just wanted to help. Margaret, I thought we were friends. I thought we had connected. This is all a misunderstanding. The notes are in your handwriting," Robert said coldly. "The documents have your fingerprints all over them. There is no misunderstanding possible. Ryan knows about this. She tried one last attack. He agrees. He wants his mother to be protected. Then let's call him." Robert took out his phone. "Now, all together. Let's see what Ryan says when we show him the proof." The panic in her face was real now. "No, wait. We can resolve this between us, without involving." But Robert was already dialing. He put it on speaker. Ryan answered on the third ring. Sleepy voice. "Hello, Uncle Bob. Good morning, Ryan. I am here with your mother. We need to talk. Now. You can come over." "Now?" "It is 8 in the morning on a Saturday." "Now. Ryan, it is urgent. Very urgent." Something in the tone made Ryan wake up completely. "All right, Mom. Your mother is here. Ask her yourself. Mom, I am fine, son, but your uncle is right. You need to come. There are things you have to see. What things? You guys are scaring me. Half an hour, Robert said. Just you, without Jessica. This is between direct family. Jessica is my family. Half an hour, Ryan. Or do we take this directly to legal authorities? You decide. He hung up before Ryan could answer. Brenda tried to go to her room. Robert blocked the way. No. You stay here, in the living room, where we can see you. You cannot hold me against my will. I am not holding you. You are free to leave. In fact, I would prefer you left. But if you leave now, I will call the police and press charges for fraud before noon. Your choice. She sat on the sofa, temporarily defeated, but her eyes were still calculating, looking for exits, looking for angles. Ryan arrived in 20 minutes. He entered like a tornado, hair disheveled, still in sweatpants and t-shirt. What is so urgent? Why the drama? Robert passed him his phone without saying a word. Ryan looked at the first image, then the second, then began to scroll faster, his face changing from confusion to comprehension to horror. What is this? Ask your mother-in-law, said Robert. Ryan turned to Brenda. What is this? Guardianship forms? Notes about my mother's dementia? Ryan, I can explain. Explain what? That you were planning to declare my mother mentally incompetent? Steal her house? It is not stealing. You are her son. You have a right. I do not have a right to anything until she decides to give it to me. Ryan was almost shouting now. You did this? You planned all this? I saw something in his eyes then. Genuine surprise, genuine horror. My son did not know. He was not involved in the plan. Brenda stood up, trying to get close. Listen to me. Your mother cannot handle this alone. She needs help. Jessica and I just wanted to make sure. Jessica. The word came out like poison from his mouth. Jessica knew about this. It was not a question. Brenda remained silent, silence that confirmed everything. My God. Ryan let himself fall into a chair. All this time, the suggestions, the comments about Mom needing help, about the house being too much for her. It was preparation. You were preparing the ground. We were protecting you, securing your future. You were committing fraud. He exploded. Do you have any idea what this is? This is criminal. Brenda, you could go to jail. Jessica could go to jail. Nobody is going anywhere, she tried to calm him. Only if Margaret presses charges. And she won't. She is your mother. She is not going to destroy her family. All eyes turned to me. The room waited. The decisive moment. The silent question floating in the air like smoke. What would I do? I looked at Brenda, this woman who had invaded my house, my life, my peace, who had planned to steal everything from me using the law as a weapon. Then I looked at my son, that man who had been manipulated but who had also chosen comfort over my well-being repeatedly. Brenda, I said with a calmness I did not know I possessed, you have 1 hour to pack your things and get out of my house. If you are not out in an hour, I call the police. And yes, I press charges. Margaret, 1 hour. Where am I going to go? Not my problem. You should have thought about that before. She turned to Ryan, desperate. Ryan, please, speak to your mother. Tell her that. Get out of her house, Ryan said, his voice broken. Now. Brenda froze for a moment, as if she could not process that her perfect plan had crumbled. Then, something changed in her face. The mask fell completely, and what remained was pure rage. This is your fault, she pointed at me with a trembling finger. You and your selfishness, your inability to share. Do you know how many women like you I have seen? Lonely old women clinging to empty houses while their children struggle to get ahead. Pathetic. 50 minutes, Robert said, looking at his watch. I did not finish speaking. Her voice rose to a screech. Ryan, your mother is manipulating you. Do you not see it? She called your uncle to pressure you, to turn you against me, against Jessica, against your own wife. My wife who conspired to commit fraud, responded Ryan with a dead voice. My wife who never mentioned any of this, who made me bring your mother here, to my mother's house, knowing what you planned. Because we know you. We knew you would react like this. that you would take her side instead of thinking about your future. About our future. Our future based on stealing from my mother. What a beautiful future. Brenda turned to me, changing tactics again. Margaret, please, be reasonable. We have to be able to reach an agreement. I got carried away. Jessica too. But it does not have to end like this. We can forget all this. Start over. 45 minutes, interrupted Robert. Something broke in her then. The composure, the control, everything exploded. Fine. I am leaving. But know this, Margaret. You never had an apartment to repair. There was never a water leak. There were never structural problems. It was all a lie from the beginning. Jessica and I planned it months ago. We found your profile, investigated your situation. Single woman, paid-off house, only child, easy to manipulate. You are the perfect target. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the air seemed to stop. My God, whispered Ryan. It was all a lie from the beginning. Of course it was a lie. Brenda was almost laughing now, hysterical. Do you think someone spends weeks in another person's house for pleasure? This was work, investigation, establishing residency, earning trust, documenting behavior, all part of the plan. And Jessica? Asked Ryan, his voice barely audible. Jessica is smarter than you think. She found me, in fact, looking for ways to get money fast. Your mother was the obvious target. Widow, alone, valuable house. We just needed access. Then our marriage. It was all for this. Brenda had the decency to look uncomfortable for a second. Not everything. She did love you at the beginning. But when money started to get scarce, when your salary was not enough, we needed alternatives. And your mother was there, alone in this big house, wasting space. Ryan went pale. He put his hands to his face. 35 minutes, Robert said. Brenda finally understood she had lost. She walked to her room with furious steps. We heard her throwing things, opening and closing drawers violently, suitcases hitting against walls. The sound of dismantling. Ryan remained seated, motionless, processing that his marriage had been a scam almost from the start, that the woman he lived with, he shared his life with, had used him as a ladder to get to my money. Son, I approached cautiously, without touching him yet. I am sorry. You are sorry, he repeated without emotion. Mom, I did this to you. I brought this woman to your house. I forced you to accept her. I made you feel guilty every time you protested. I did this. You were manipulated. I am a 35-year-old adult. I cannot hide behind. I was manipulated. I chose to believe Jessica over you. I chose my comfort over your safety. I chose wrong. Mom, again and again. I chose wrong. Tears ran down his face now. My son, my boy, broken by betrayal. How did I not see it? How could I be so stupid? Love makes us blind, Robert said softly, especially when the other person is good at lying. Brenda came out of the room dragging 4 suitcases, the same ones she had arrived with. Her face was red, makeup smeared, hair disheveled. Nothing remained of the elegant and controlled woman. I hope you are happy. Margaret, you destroyed a family for your selfishness. I did not destroy anything, I responded, my voice firm. You did when you decided that my house, my life, my well-being were disposable for your benefit. That house is worth over $300,000 and you waste it living alone. It is obscene. It is mine. That is the only thing that matters. Brenda looked at Ryan one last time. Your wife is going to call you. She is going to cry. She is going to beg. She is going to say that I forced her, that she knew nothing. And you are going to believe her because you are weak. You have always been weak. Out, ordered Robert, opening the front door. Brenda took her suitcases and walked toward the exit. At the threshold she stopped, turned. Margaret, you are 63. How much time do you think you have left? 10 years. 15 if you are lucky. Are you going to die alone in this empty house? And all for what? For pride? For principles? Waste of life. Better to die alone than to live robbed, I responded. It was my last exchange. Robert closed the door in her face. We watched her through the window, dragging her suitcases down the path, looking at her phone, probably calling a taxi or some next target. The silence that remained was different from the last weeks. It wasn't tense or uncomfortable. It was clean, like after a storm. Ryan was still sitting, head in his hands. His phone began to ring. Jessica. He looked at it but did not answer. It rang and rang until it went to voicemail. Immediately it began to ring again. You do not have to answer now, I said. Eventually I will have to. We live together. We are married. Are you sure about that? Asked Robert. A marriage built on fraud can be annulled. I do not know what to do. First you rest, sitting next to him. Then you think, then you decide. But this time, son, you decide alone. Without pressure, without guilt, without manipulation. He looked at me with red, swollen eyes. Can you forgive me? I already did. Before you asked, I do not deserve that. Probably not. But you are my son, and love is not always about deserving. He collapsed then, crying on my shoulder like when he was a boy. I hugged him, this grown man who was still my baby, and let him cry it all out, the betrayal, the shame, the pain. Robert moved silently through the house, picking up the last traces of Brenda, the sweet perfume that still floated, the pink towels in the bathroom, the products she had left, everything into a large trash bag that he took out to the bin. When Ryan finally calmed down, he wiped his face. I am going to fix this, Mom. I do not know how, but I am going to fix it. It is already fixed. She is gone. It is over. No. I mean us. You and me. What I broke, it is not broken. It is hurt. There is a difference. His phone rang again. Jessica, persistent. This time he answered, put it on speaker. Ryan? Where are you? My mother called me hysterical, saying she got kicked out. What happened? Jessica, did you know about the plan? The guardianship forms? The notes about my mother's dementia? Long silence. Too long. I do not know what you are talking about. Do not lie to me anymore. Your mother confessed everything, that there were never repairs, that it was planned from the start, that you contacted her looking for ways to get money. Ryan, she is lying. She is trying to cover her ass. I never. Stop. His voice was firm. Final. Stop lying. I know you. I know that pause before inventing excuses. It is over. Jessica, you cannot do this. We are married. We have a life together. Based on lies, on fraud, on using my mother. Your mother is poisoning you against me. She always hated me. My mother welcomed you into her family. She invited you to dinners. She gave you gifts at Christmas. And you planned to steal her house. Do not project your evil onto her. Ryan, please, we can talk. Resolve this. I love you. Did you ever love me? Or was I always just access to my mother? Another pause. That is not fair. Answer the question. I loved you. I love you. But your mother has that huge house and we struggle every month with rent. It is not fair. She does not need all that space. It was not your decision to make. It was not your house to plan to steal. We were not going to steal anything. Just ensure it would be yours someday. Protect your inheritance. By declaring her mentally incompetent with fake documents. That is fraud, Jessica. Criminal. Both of you could go to prison. The silence on the other end became heavy. Are you going to report us? I looked at my son. The decision was his as much as mine. I am going to pack my things, he said finally, and we are going to talk to lawyers. About annulment. About divorce. About what proceeds legally. Mom will decide if she presses charges. It is her right. Ryan. Goodbye, Jessica. He hung up, turned off the phone completely. I am coming with you, asked Robert. When you go for your things? Please. The two left an hour later. Robert driving, Ryan in the passenger seat, looking out the window as if he were seeing the world for the first time. I stayed alone in my house. Truly alone for the first time in over a month. I walked through every room, opening windows, letting fresh air in. Brenda's smell still lingered, but it would go with time. In the kitchen, I rearranged everything back to how it was. Every mug, every plate, every spice in its correct place. In the bathroom, I put my products back. In the living room, I moved the furniture to their original positions, reclaiming my space, piece by piece. That night, Ryan returned with 3 boxes of his belongings. Can I stay here a few days? While I find an apartment. You can stay as long as you need. But son, respecting that it is my house, my rules, my space. Of course I would not expect it any other way. I hugged him. Welcome home. And this time, when I said home, I knew it meant something different. Not perfect, not without scars, but mine again, finally mine.